For those who may care about where I've been this week, or maybe those who don't care, it doesn't matter. My main monitor's died, so it's been quite a difficult experience editing on one monitor. I mean, it's not that different, but like, it's a much smaller monitor, and it's only one monitor, and it's not ultra wide, so there's that. So I've been searching for a new monitor this whole time, hopefully one that won't break the bank, but who knows. With news of the Switch 2, as well as new news from both Xbox and Sony, not to mention the literal deluge of PC handhelds, one has to wonder, is it the Steam Deck's time? Is it time for a Steam Deck 2? Is the Steam Deck outdated? All of these questions and more once I cover the news. But if you like this video or any other video I've made, please like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. And in the meantime, why don't you check out Off the Console? It's a brand new podcast created by me, Gardner Bryant, and Games Revealed, with guest stars occasionally. And while yes, it's on YouTube, it's also available wherever podcasts can be found, like Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Check it out. As you and the rest of the world knows, the Switch 2 was announced by Nintendo sometime last week. And obviously, so many people were excited for it. I mean, look at the view count. 19 million views on Nintendo's channel alone. That's pretty crazy. Though as of the making of this video, details are kind of light on the Switch 2, all that needs to be said is that people want a new Switch. A newer, more powerful Switch with more games, more Nintendo games. Of course, Valve has stated that the Steam Deck is not a Nintendo Switch competitor. His words, not mine. But as you can see, the week of the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement, Steam Deck sales dropped dramatically. How? Well, as per Steam Deck HQ, you can see less people bought the Steam Deck 2 this week than pretty much any other week. And the Steam Deck is a consistent top seller because it's based on revenue as opposed to units sold or whatever. Now, evidently this is coincidental, and of course the Switch 2 probably isn't the only thing affecting this, as it is January and a bunch of people bought a bunch of things for the holidays. Heck, I bought a bunch of stuff for the holidays too, and honestly I'm a little broke right now. That's why I'm not buying a monitor as we speak. But I am pretty sure the Switch 2 had some impact. Now, historically, developers moved heaven and earth to get games run on the Switch. And there's a good chance that developers do the same here too. This unfortunately doesn't always translate to just running better on PC. Because I mean, you see console games get optimized for like the PS5 and the Xbox, but sometimes they don't really get that optimized for PC, you know what I'm saying? And of course the same applies here. But the Steam Deck has one major benefit, especially if you're the type of person that loves playing indie games on the go. That being, a lot of indie games come to PC first. There's still a great number of indie games that aren't on Switch because, well, it's just a lot easier to publish games on PC. Whether you're doing it through Steam, through Epic, or even through itch.io or even your own website, it's just that much easier. Now, if you're a studio with a lot of resources and perhaps maybe even a lot of Kickstarter money, then you could probably bring a Switch version alongside the PC version at the same time. But a lot of developers aren't that flush with cash. At least without a Kickstarter, that is. So sometimes Switch ports come a little later. And another piece of news, or rather a rumored piece of news, is the PS6 APU being developed by AMD. Now, Sony and AMD have been together since the PS4, and it's been a winning combination for the most part. They've won the console wars on the PS4, and the PS5, sort of, kind of, maybe, I don't know. But the PS6 being AMD, that was probably like the most predictable thing ever. That's not a problem though, because AMD's generally been pretty good on consoles. Now, this new AMD APU is based on Zen 6 architecture, and instead of using RDNA 4 or 5 or whatever, it's using something called UDNA, what they call AMD's next generation of graphics. Truly next gen as opposed to an iteration like, I don't know, RDNA 5 or 6 or whatever. But this is also the first big generation where pretty much every core gamer knows that game development has gotten out of control. Like, these budgets for these games have gotten completely out of control, and games aren't selling well. Like, I would think like 1 million copies of anything sold is pretty good. I would have thought that at least. But as we all know, games that sell 1 million copies that are major AAA titles are failures, like Dragon Age Veilguard with their 1.5 million sales. Like, have we hit the law of diminishing returns? Is it entirely possible that just eking out 1% extra higher fidelity just isn't worth it monetarily wise. Like, I'm not entirely sure how the economics work here for major AAA games, but the big question is, are the big graphical improvements going to be even worth it for PlayStation 6? I don't know. Now, it's pretty clear that these PS6 games probably won't run well on Steam Deck. But to be honest, we've kind of already hit that point. We've hit a point where many AAA games don't really run that well on Steam Deck. And to be honest, I'm not really expecting any more major AAA titles to run well on Steam Deck either at this point. Like last year, we saw the release of Dragon's Dogma 2, a game I really wanted to play on Steam Deck, but guess what? It didn't run out well on Steam Deck, especially in towns. And if we've already hit that point, then there's no way any PlayStation 6 game is gonna run on Steam Deck. Like, not even just like exclusives or whatever, but I mean AAA third-party games that'll probably get a PC port. Which means at some point we're going to need a Steam Deck 2 at the very least. The big question now is, we're hearing rumors of UDNA. Will we see UDNA in a Steam Deck 2? I sure hope so. The big question is, how power efficient can they make it? Because, I mean, battery life, right? And finally, no news on anything Xbox related except for maybe an Xbox handheld. But they also held the Xbox Direct, and guess what we got? New games. Probably my two biggest highlights, or three technically, are two Ninja Gaiden games and Doom: The Dark Ages. Microsoft did talk about other games available, but to be honest, those were my top three most anticipated games. That said, I am kind of surprised that they didn't also talk about Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, given that, well, that's also a Ninja Gaiden game, right? That said, I'm not entirely sure any of these games will run that well on Steam Deck, and while Doom is known for being quite optimized and, you know, Doom and Doom Eternal run quite well on Steam Deck, this will be the first Doom game to require ray tracing, which has been a recent trend, starting with Indiana Jones that is. And as such, it'll only be available on PC and PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. Now, to be honest, ray tracing is still pretty much murderous on the Steam Deck. Like, you could ray trace on the Steam Deck, but you're not going to run games that well. That said, given id Tech's pedigree and also the fact that they're quite good at optimizing, I would imagine this game would run a little better on Steam Deck, but I mean, it's hard to know whether or not this will run well on Steam Deck given the forced ray tracing requirements. And now let's talk about the Ninja Gaiden game, starting with, of course, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. This game's actually available right now, and you can buy it and play it right now. That said, early impressions are mostly favorable, though some people still don't like the fact that it's still a little easier than the original Xbox 360 release, though most people agree that it's still better than Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. That said, there are videos showcasing that this game does in fact run pretty well on Steam Deck, all things considered. I haven't verified these as I don't have the game just yet, but it does look quite playable, and I mean, it's not like a massive open world type of game, so I would expect this to run just a little better than expected. But now for the big announcement, Ninja Gaiden 4. This time co-developed by Platinum Games. Now, to be honest, Platinum Games' reputation, well, let's just say a couple of failed games and also a mobile game that can't be played ever again, their reputation kind of tanked a little bit. But the gameplay does look very promising, and yes, it does look very Ninja Gaiden. So maybe this is a game that'll show that Platinum still has it, even if, you know, Hideki Kamiya left to make Clovers. So that covers it for the news. Personally, I think the Steam Deck is starting to show its age, but there aren't too many major AAA games I even play myself, so the Steam Deck will persist at least until, oh, I don't know, Valve unveils a Steam Deck 2 or whatever, or maybe I get my hands on one of those Legion Go 2 devices. That is something I want to cover. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.